What's happening, everyone? I'm Jordan, and this is Front Run Tech. And Bitcoin, of course, has absolutely tanked recently over the past few months relative to the rest of the market. So, we are going to go ahead and take a look at all of that here in this video and catch up on what's really going on in these markets. All right, we're going to start here on the Bitcoin weekly chart. And Bitcoin, of course, a very steep drawdown that it has been in. It is in some type of bear market currently. What type of bear market that ends up being, we're going to have to see. But this breakdown of the last trend line was very clear. And then that perfect retest rejection um, was the sign that this thing was ready to really fall down into this next level of support. And now Bitcoin on the weekly chart is into a very heavy level of support here, really ranging all the way down to about 57, 58K into where it's at right now. All right. And if we actually go ahead and throw on the 200-week moving average, you can see that's not too far away. That's coming in around 58,380 right now. And you could see that's going to coincide with the bottom of this channel. Um, So that would be very interesting if Bitcoin did fall further, kind of coinciding with those two areas. Um, I would definitely want to see it hold there. But overall, there's a lot of support in this area, and that's where Bitcoin currently is, right? The sentiment is absolutely god awful, and you know, I'm taking it as a chance to be buying Bitcoin for sure, personally. But um, I've maintained this whole time that I do not think that the 4-year cycle is going to play out, but I have continuously said that there was a strong case to be made for the continuance of the 4-year cycle, and I have shown and gone over all the evidence for that case. So I'm happy that I have been able to at least do that. But I also still do not think that the 4-year cycle will play out. I still hold that as my base view. I think Bitcoin will hit new all-time highs sometime at least within the next 18 months, probably sooner. But this is still my base case, all right? But if you are assessing a higher probability to the 4-year cycle playing out, then you need to be prepared for lower prices for much longer, and you know, basically a full more than 2 years of bear market and recovery. All right. Um, so we'll just have to see what happens, and we'll keep an eye out here on the weekly chart because Bitcoin is at a pretty important spot here. All right. Now, if I go ahead and let's get a cleaner view of everything here, and I'm gonna go over the bull case, which is quite simple. We know the bear case, right? The bull case is that all of this was simply the breakout, the macro breakout, and now retest of the previous all-time high range. Okay, that's your bull case. And as long as this level is holding, it looks like a potential retest of the breakout. And then you could see if this holds, you would see a much longer, stronger bull market. All right. As we kind of transition from the end of QT into really the beginning of QE, they're gonna be starting to really monetize the debt and yield curve control. All of that stuff's coming, so it is a very interesting spot for Bitcoin to be so bearish right now as far as sentiment, when technically this is a macro retest. So it is going to be important to see if this level does hold on the zoomed out time frame, right? So we'll keep watching it. Let's go ahead and take a look at some other important things. Take a look at gold. This is gold on the 8-hour, and gold, of course, had this massive volatility, this huge move down after kind of a blow off top. It seems maybe, but you could see that move down came exactly into the main trend line, tested it, even had a nice little liquidity grab below, where I was actually able to be buying gold here, and it has bounced pretty hard off that trend line and looks pretty strong as it closed out the week. If we go ahead and throw on the weekly chart, it kind of shows you the context of this huge wick candle, and then the next candle another one. These wicks kind of counterbalance each other out. They're almost the exact same size, and then you can see after those two candles, gold just bullish weekly candles, bullish weekly all-time highs. So this whole move looks like a volatility kind of washout up leverage. Gold just looks extremely strong still, in my opinion. All right, take a look at silver, because silver was experiencing that same volatility, of course. Silver on the 8 hour with a massive move after topping out, at least in the short term. It came off almost 50% in almost no time at all. And silver was kind of forming these really ugly big head and shoulders patterns with this neckline being in this green zone, and it kind of looked like it wanted to break from the head and shoulders multiple times here, but it was recently able to hold at this level again and bounce pretty hard. So uh doesn't look like those head and shoulders patterns are really still in play for now. Really just watching the levels here, all right? And we'll see if silver's able to it's probably in for some type of consolidation. So I was personally accumulating some silver on these lows. All right. Um let's go ahead and take a look at the stock market. This is the NASDAQ daily chart. The NASDAQ has kind of been in this triangle. It tried to break out here a couple times and then fell back in the triangle. But you can see recently it keeps holding at the support side of this triangle. And really we're just waiting for something to give here, right? The NASDAQ is gonna tell us its next movement here soon. Really just waiting for that. And if we go look at the S&P, the S&P is pretty hard to get a gauge on right now. It's just coiling, and we're just gonna have to wait to see which way this coil breaks. All right. So that's that's where we'll leave it at today. Again, Bitcoin really just lagging behind everything in a bear market for now. I've been taking the opportunity to load up on some cheap Bitcoin, so to each their own. All right. Thanks for watching the video. If you guys want to follow the socials, they'll be in the description of the video. And thanks. See you guys.